Today, we're gonna do something a little wild. We're grabbing a mental sledgehammer and using a 400-year-old thought experiment, we are going to try and demolish everything we think we know. I know, it's a pretty radical idea, but the goal is to find out if anything, literally anything at all, is left standing when the dust settles. So let me ask you this. Have you ever had that kind of dizzying moment when a belief you've held your entire life just crumbles? It could be something small, something you were told as a kid, or it could be a huge piece of your worldview. We've all been there, right? Okay, now imagine taking that feeling and just applying it to everything you believe. That's the challenge the philosopher René Descartes set for himself. He looked back at his life and was kind of shocked by how many false ideas he'd accepted over the years. He realized his entire mental world might be built on a really shaky foundation. And so he set himself this incredible mission. He wasn't looking to just patch up a few cracks in his thinking. Nope, he wanted to demolish the entire building of his beliefs, to tear it all down to the ground just so he could find one single thing, if anything, that was absolutely, unshakably certain. All right, let's get into the demolition. The very first wrecking ball is aimed at the most basic source of pretty much all our knowledge, our senses. I mean, this seems obvious, doesn't it? We trust what we see, what we hear, and what we touch to tell us what the world is like. But for Descartes, this is the very first thing that has to go on the chopping block. And think about it. Of course they have. A pencil in a glass of water looks like it's bent. A building way off in the distance looks tiny. We have all experienced these little moments where what we see isn't what's actually there. And this leads him to a really powerful conclusion. If your senses can fool you even once, how can you ever trust them completely? For him, a source that's unreliable even some of the time just can't be the foundation for absolute certainty. This really just captures that internal debate perfectly. Our gut instinct screams, come on, this is ridiculous. I'm sitting right here. This is obviously real. But then logic fires back with that nagging question. Yeah, but if your senses can be wrong about things far away, why couldn't they be wrong about this too? Okay, now we're going a level deeper. The next argument doesn't just question a few details here and there, it basically pulls the rug out from under reality itself. We all like to think that being awake feels more, real than being in a dream. But seriously, think about it. Haven't you ever had a dream that felt completely 100% vivid and real while you were in it? So real that you were absolutely convinced you were awake? And that leads to this deeply unsettling conclusion. If you can't find a single, foolproof test to prove you aren't dreaming right now, then you can't be 100% certain that anything you're experiencing is real. The floor, the screen, your own hands, they could all just be part of a dream. Okay, so our senses are unreliable and we might be dreaming. The demolition feels pretty much complete. Is there anything left standing? This is the point where Descartes starts searching for an anchor, for something certain, even in this massive sea of doubt. His next thought is just fascinating. He says, look, even the wildest visions in a dream are kind of like paintings. Think about it. A painter might create a mythical creature that doesn't exist, but to paint it, they have to use real colors and real shapes. In the same way, our dreams, no matter how bizarre, must be built from some basic universal components. And these are those fundamental building blocks, things like shape, quantity, size, place, and time. Even in your wildest dream, things still take up space, right? You can still count them, and they exist for a certain amount of time. These seem to be the basic colors that our mind uses to paint every experience, whether we're awake or asleep. And this is where we get a really crucial insight. If these universal components are always there, maybe one of them holds the key to certainty. Let's focus on number, for instance. And there it is, a potential foundation. The simple truths of math and geometry. Think about it. Whether you're dreaming that you're counting apples or you're wide awake counting apples, 2 plus 3 is always going to equal 5. This seems like a kind of certainty that actually survives the dream argument. So it looks like we might have found an anchor. But here's the thing. Even if we intellectually accept all this doubt, there's still a huge psychological wall we have to get over before we can actually start rebuilding. Descartes realized that the real enemy isn't some logical problem. It's psychology. It's the powerful gravity of habit. Our old, familiar beliefs, they just feel right. They have a way of creeping back in, not because they're true, but just because they're comfortable and we're used to them. So to fight this, he comes up with this wild mental workout. instead of trying to resist the doubt, he decides to just lean into it hard. He makes a conscious decision to actively pretend that all of his old opinions are completely false. The idea is that this will act as a counterweight, to balance out the powerful pull of habit and clear the way for a truly objective judgment. And he's totally honest about how hard this is. It goes against our very nature. There's this mental laziness in all of us that just wants to slip back into our comfortable, easy, unexamined beliefs. Thinking this critically is genuinely hard work. This is such a powerful way to put it. He compares himself to a prisoner who's having a wonderful dream about being free. Waking up from that dream means facing the hard labor of being a prisoner again. In the same way, we might actually prefer the peaceful sleep of our old opinions, instead of doing the really hard work of questioning everything to find the truth. So you see, this project of radical doubt isn't just some dusty 400-year-old thought experiment. It's a tool, a method that we can actually use today. It's a challenge to really examine the foundations of what we believe, to clear away the clutter, and to see what, if anything, is truly solid. And that brings us to the final question for you. What foundational belief would you be most afraid to question?